If you missed the call-ups, big story from yesterday is really Lauren Stevens, your stage winner for the Aegis cycling team. She's going to be the GC threat, but as predicted, her Aegis team going up against Virginia's Blue Ridge 2024 with Marleis Mejias. Now 1 kilometer downtown criterium. There are going to be a few time bonuses on the line throughout the night tonight. That'll be super interesting to watch here.
Yeah, I spoke with Marleis Mejias before the start. She said she was a little disappointed finishing third yesterday, but the team is ready to go. She's really motivated tonight, hoping to best that third place tonight.
And here you go. This is Virginia's Blue Ridge getting to the front. Right alongside Fount Cycling. That'll be the other, I think, big team to watch this week. Fount Cycling Guild really developing quite the road program. And they're going to be back with Aliyah Shafi this week looking at their GC ambitions. But they got some pretty good sprinters on this squad as well. We saw Minoru Minagawa pick up some stage podiums last week at Tour of the Gila. So wouldn't be surprised to see a green jersey on the podium tonight. This one going to be fast from the start. Single file up at the front. Seeing some automatic jerseys up there as well. Those will be some riders well versed in the criterium world here. But this one really going to be wide open. I love that this crit comes early on in the week as well. It really opens the door for stage hunters. There's not really a GC battle to speak of yet. You're kind of looking at a handful of riders that are all within striking distance after the road race yesterday. They're ringing a preem on the line for $500. It sounds like could be some good money on the line here. We saw Riley McMullen pick up the first one that they rang 2 laps in, so we'll see. They're going to set it for another. Look at Fount starting to move up. They got 2 together here. Looking very, whenever I see riders look over the shoulder like that, looking very motivated here. Virginia's Blue Ridge going to launch one. And I think this is turn 4. You're set up into the finishing stretch. Looked like maybe Ehrlich up on the front early on here. Be interested to see in these early sprints where the winning sprint comes from. What position in this group you really want to be in. Coming off of those bricks and onto the pavement out of turn 4. That looks like VBR to me. Dark blue and light blue up at the front. We are working on getting Rebecca back in here.
All right. Can you hear me, Brad?
I got you now. Sounds like we might have you doubled up here, but we'll get that sorted out. You are on site. You were talking about some of the riders you were chatting with this morning. Any other good insights from the riders that you talked to?
Well, but estoy escuchando. I'm sorry.
All right, we'll work on getting her back in here. Meanwhile, group still together here. I will do my best to get you laps and lap info. They're going to ring $250 this time through. Here comes VBR up to the front. Fount's got 2 as well. And then your green jersey being worn today by...
All right, Brad.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh, there we go. Rebecca back in. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. I think we got it under control now. So
All right,
sorry, go ahead. So I spoke to Kim Litchi, and for those of you DNA Pro Cycling fans out there, she came from that program. Of course, we unfortunately saw that program close its doors last season, but we spoke to her. She's a crit, a specific rider. She was really pumped about tonight and her new team, S&M, with Kara O'Neill, who did really good at Redlands, as you know, Brad.
Lucci, one of the legendary crit dogs, as they say, certainly one with plenty of experience on the short track of racing things. This looked like Virginia's Blue Ridge back through the line. My picture freezing up a little bit here, but we are seeing some splits starting to roll off the front here. So big action, not only for these preems, but I also got to think they're starting to set up for these intermediate sprints coming up here. If you've got a rider in the running here, these sprints could be crucial for the time bonuses. 3, 2, and 1 on the intermediate sprints, and then 10, 6, and 4 time bonuses on the stage. So even though this would normally be one for the sprinters to try to get a stage win, there could be some major GC implications, especially because it comes early on, and this GC pretty close together headed into this one.
Yeah, we saw that. I mean, 2028 are definitely looking at that, hoping for Marlise Mejias to take the win after coming third yesterday. And they'll definitely looking for those bonus seconds. Unas palabras en español. Estamos aquí en el tercer vuelta de la segunda etapa aquí en el centro de Wenatchee, viendo los UCI, las carrera femenina. Hablamos con Marlise Mejias del equipo 2028, después de su tercer lugar en el primer día. Estaba diciendo que un poco frustrante ayer, pero está listo para luchar hoy para la victoria, y ojalá que todo sale bien para ellos. Con un grande equipo, con Emily Ehrlich, también con Sofía Arriola de México. So vamos a ver cómo sale para la cubana. Fuera de eso, pues tenemos Pato Bike también con Yareli Acevedo, que acaba de ganar el oro medal en los Panamericanos de pista. Entonces ella puede ser muy buen hoy, muy fuerte también. Y vemos en el grupo principal no tenemos un fuga, pero vamos a ver qué pasa.
GC situation heading into the second day today really doesn't change much until you get down to, I mean, the biggest group was at 10 seconds back. So there are, call it 50, 60 riders that are all within 10 seconds of Stevens and Mejias, tied at 2:16.47 after yesterday's ride. Aaliyah Shafi in third at 4 seconds back. Ariel Verhaeren in fourth at 6 seconds back. So those are the riders that are within striking distance today. Those are the riders that are going to have a chance to try to take that pink jersey on time bonuses here. For example, Ariel Verhaeren could win 2 intermediate sprints. That would be enough to get her tied with Stevens and Mejias in the GC if neither of those riders picked up any time bonuses or points on the intermediate sprints. So the intermediate sprints will be super valuable today. Again, they're looking at the long-term picture here, and if things go all the right way, we could see a change in the pink jersey in the criterium stage.
And speaking of Vera, the automatic rider, she does come from speed skating. And for those who don't know, most speed skaters do cross-train on the bike, which is why we see a lot of speed skaters coming into cycling. And so she won 2 gold medals in the Winter Olympics just a few years ago, and so we expect her to do well. We'll see automatic, of course, a criterium-based team just arriving here from Athens Twilight, and they really wanted to hit a stage race, and they said this one was worked out perfectly for them for their calendar, so they were really eyeing this stage, of course, hoping to go well.
It's another one of those teams with a diverse background of riders. They really come from a bunch of different sports, bunch of different walks of life. Ariel Verhaeren with a BMX racing background, And then you talked about Evany Blondin with a speed skating background as well. This is very similar, I was going to say, to the Fount Cycling Guild. Their sort of Joes to pros theory of recruiting and finding riders. Almost all of the riders on that squad will have come from some other sport or discipline or physical activity of some sort, where they identify raw talent and then kind of try and.
Speaking of Fount Cycling and Aaliyah Shaffi, Aaliyah did come from rowing. So she's one of the other athletes here that's come from other sports, transitioned from other sports into professional cycling.
See if Fount can get organized. We saw Jen Wheeler pick up QOM points yesterday. She mentioned in her post-race interview that initially it was just kind of the opportunity, right? She just saw that no one else was really going to go for him early on, so she decided to jump, and then obviously had to follow up after she picked up the initial points. But it's amazing how quickly the week can change with a decision like that, and just like that, Jen Wheeler finds herself in the polka dot jersey.
Well, it was interesting speaking with Jennifer yesterday. She said that she made a mistake in letting Lauren Stevens through. She thought it was one of her teammates, and she said, I looked back and it was Lauren, and she just needed that split second to get around me. And so she's like, definitely not going to let that happen again. So Jennifer definitely hungry to get this win for her team. We spoke with David Richter, one of the founders of Fount Cycling Guild. He was talking about Elizabeth Dixon tonight. Of course, that team, several options between Elizabeth and Alexi Snovar, who we saw win a stage at Redlands, that Crafton Hill stage that was just brutal on the riders. So we'll see what happens, but Fount is definitely one to watch today.
I think I hear a bell ringing. Saw the official out on course, so might be a little cash on offer here. Saw Virginia's Blue Ridge back up and dominating on the front. Green jersey back up there as well. This is kind of going to be the rhythm here that we're going to start to see the dominators of this group settle in. Looks like Virginia's Blue Ridge is going to fight here for control. They really want to establish dominance here and control early on. That makes sense when Marlene Mejias needs this time. And they're one of the few teams that can do it, right? They're one of the best equipped squads in this race to control it. They can do this for an hour. They can absolutely continue to fight teams like Fount for control of this field. They've done it before, and they can do it again on the Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028 squad.
Yeah, we're hearing a minor crash on the back side, but I think everything's back up and running. But yeah, definitely one to watch. Who else did we speak to? I spoke with Vanessa from Orion Racing, and she was mentioning this is her first time to Bloom. She's her first year racing. She comes from soccer. She was a forward, played in the forward position in soccer, and just did a triathlon and decided to try cycling. And here she is at the first UCI year of the Tour de Bloom here in Washington. So she was saying, she's really looking forward to this downtown crit, and also getting warm because it's pretty cold out. The temperatures have dropped significantly from this afternoon. We had wind pick up this morning, and it's just continued to get stronger, and the temperatures are definitely cool here in downtown Wenatchee.
Once that sun starts to drop down behind the mountains, it gets chilly quick in a mountain town like Wenatchee. See if that plays into our elite men's race coming up after this. I have to imagine it will continue to cool down out there. Here's Fount back up to the front. Boy, this is a great battle unfolding, Rebecca, watching the Fount and Virginia Blue Ridge teams battle for control at the front. It looks like they both really want to be in charge here.
Aaliyah's just tired of getting second to Lauren Stevens after she got second at Levi's Grand Fondos. She's just itching to get that top step tonight. So they're not only, of course, the time bonuses and the sprints, but they're definitely looking at that final.
But we are still a long way away from that final. There's a lot of teamwork and team battle that are going to go on here. I'm not seeing a lot of Aegis up at the front. In fact, I'm hardly seeing any, aside from Stevens up here in the pink jersey. I don't really see her using her Aegis teammates much the way that, like, Marleis Mejias looks to be using Emily Ehrlich a whole bunch up on the front here. So I don't know if that's just a personal preference for Lauren Stevens, if she feels like she doesn't need that help yet and she can keep riders like Frankie Hall and Kylie Hanel and sort of reserve back in the group and only use them when she needs them.
Yeah, she's proven several times when she's been isolated from her team that she can still pull out the win and still pull out the results for the team if she needs to. Of course, she always wants to have her team around her, protecting her, especially in a stage like tonight in this crit. A lot of the times the GC riders, just their focus is to staying safe for the days ahead.
I'd say fourth position, pretty safe place to be. Minimize your chances of crash up at the front. That's where Lauren Stevens is hanging out in the pink jersey right now, wearing number 21 on her back, but she'll be easiest to spot. Kind of a dark blue helmet, light pink jersey. She's going to be surfing the front of this race for most of the night tonight. Again, not only looking for time bonuses, but also trying to stay safe here. Got to assume that is the same purpose, I guess, for Marleis Mejias up there in the green jersey. And then been seeing a lot of Fount as well as they're trying to serve their GEC leaders up towards the front. Not seeing a lot of Jen Wheeler right now. I've seen Elias Shafi making her way up there, Alexi Snover. They should be leaning on a rider like Andrea Sear here for the Criterium. She'll have a lot of Criterium experience in those legs, but it'll be interesting to see what the polka dot jersey does on a day like today.
Well, we just saw Emily Ehrlich on the front a little bit further back, working the front for Marleis Mejias. Of course, Emily just snatching at gold medal at the Pan American Track Championships in the individual pursuit, so she's not shy to get up there on the front and work for her team when she needs to.
Yeah, see, Mejias is like, I have a Pan Am gold medal individual pursuit champ on my team. I'm absolutely going to use that racehorse and deploy that resource up on the front. If you want to go head-to-head with my team, it seems like Marleis Mejias is willing to put her Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028 squad up against pretty much anyone else in this race, and I would too. I mean, they are stacked at Tour de Bloom here. So if I'm looking at this roster on paper, pound for pound, I think Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028 has the horsepower for sure. And then a team like Aegis and Fount are going to have to figure out how to beat them tactically, because you're not going to beat them on raw horsepower this week.
Well, not only that, but they were itching to get into, stage racing this season. They had some other obligations like the Pan American Championship, so they missed out on Redlands and on Gila, and they kept saying, we want to be there. We're FOMO over here, watching all the coverage, and we really want to be in those races. And now they finally get the chance to go against their rivals and see what comes out of it.
There's some folks that figured out how to enjoy downtown Wenatchee. Good look at the beer garden across the street from the start-finish stage. It's got a really nice vibe here at this race. The downtown Criterium does really, really well in, sort of attracting new people, I guess, a good way to put it, to the bike race. Rebecca, you're on site. Can you kind of describe what the Criterium is all about?
Yeah, it's been just a full day of festivities here in downtown Wenatchee. They started with the Apple Blossom Festival Parade, and so the downtown streets have just been lined with people since 7 o'clock this morning. They had the local marching bands and groups and, contents like beauty queens coming down the streets, and then not long after that they swept up the parade and we got ready for the crit. So it's just been a really nice day of festivities with just people enjoying themselves. The race has 4 beer gardens around the circuit, so plenty of space. If there's not any room at the finish line, there's plenty of space around the course to enjoy this great night of professional bike racing and having a good time here in downtown Wenatchee.
Gotta love it. They certainly know how to do it at Tour de Bloom, right? I also noticed some very cool podium prizes as well, between the hat and the belt buckle. I know they gave a lot of those away today. That's part of the allure, the charm of Tour de Bloom.
Yeah, so every stage they have a different prize. So tonight is going to be the belt buckle, the Tour de Bloom belt buckle, which is a very highly esteemed wanting prize for a lot of the riders in the peloton. Yesterday it was a cowboy hat. Tomorrow for the plain road race, it's going to be an axe. That's engraved on the handle there. So pretty cool, pretty different, kind of like those bowls at Gila, but very, very cool way to, promote Wenatchee.
Looks like Lauren Stevens picked up some bonus time sprints a little bit ago, just rolling back through some results. Sprint number 1 saw maximum time for Lauren Stevens. For Marlies Mejias wearing number 1. Emily Ehrlich picking up second in that intermediate sprint. So that'll be 2 seconds for her. Good job by Virginia's Blue Ridge to stack these top 3, take those time bonuses away from anyone else. And then Leah Shafi did pick up 1 second in third in that intermediate sprint. So that is, I think, going to unofficially break that tie from Marlies Mejias. That'll make her the outright leader virtually in the race right now, with 2 more intermediate sprints and a finish sprint still to come.
A great bonus for her too. I mean, she also did well. She just recently started racing on the track and got second in the scratch race at the Pan Ams. So the team just packed with talent. Looking forward to those 2028 Olympics, not too far down south from here in Washington and Los Angeles. So definitely a powerhouse in track and here in the sprints for the Downtown Crit.
Just a little bit ago, saw a Fountain jersey trying to escape. That one quickly shut down by Virginia's Blue Ridge 2024, doing what they do best. They're really using Emily Ehrlich for all she's worth out there tonight, making her earn her salary for sure with that Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028 squad. Again, she's got the engine, she's got the talent, she's an incredible long-range rider, right? She can ride the front like this all night long and just continue to chase breakaways from anyone that wants to go. If Fount or Aegis tries to send anyone away, maybe Automatic tries to launch one of their riders, Emily Ehrlich can continue to chase that down for an hour straight tonight.
Well, and we can't forget about Catherine Rush as well with CCB. She was pretty active at Redlands as well in the early stages. But yeah, going back to Emily Ehrlich, she won Redlands overall 2 years ago. She's not afraid to jump in when the team needs her. Whether, even if she's leading GC like she did back at Redlands, we saw her leading in the crit and some other points in the race. So she's a great teammate to have, whether it's going for GC or working for her teammates when she needs to be.
I think they just rang the bell for the next intermediate sprint here. So watch for the GC riders to get back up there. But again, I think Mejias is going to be the biggest one to watch, clearly showing that she's in charge here. Look at this, the way that they line this up. 1, 2, 3 with Mejias in that green jersey, second position. They are toying with the rest of the field right now. Stevens in good position here. Now she's starting to figure this out. Lauren Stevens going to try and surf this wheel of Virginia's Blue Ridge 2024. She does not have the firepower on her squad for a lead out tonight. She's got climbing and GC firepower that she brought with her with that Aegis squad, but they're not really a lead out train per se that Lauren Stevens can use. So looks like she's going to try and sort of surf the back of this Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028 squad. She figured this one out pretty quick.
Well, and she mentioned yesterday that their sprinter unfortunately had a bout of food poisoning before stage 1, so she wasn't able to go for the sprint yesterday. And so Lauren said, well, she wasn't there. I wanted to win the stage for her, but that's probably why she's using kind of taking advantage of other wheels tonight.
I think Stevens just got up there for the sprint, at least inside the top 3 here. I did see the green jersey of Mejias up there as well. We're going to get confirmation on that scoring through, but I think that was our second of 3 intermediate sprints. We'll get results on that shortly, but looks like it's going to be a good battle between Mejias and Stevens in the intermediate sprint there.
Sí, estamos viendo después pues antes del segundo intermedio, línea de volante, Marlise Mejías de Cuba con el equipo Virginia Blue Ridge 2028. Logré el primer línea de volante y pues tiene más grande ventaja en puntos en frente de Lauren Stevens, que están liderando la general. Pero vamos a ver, porque estuvimos viendo su equipo trabajando duro en el frente del grupo principal. Emily Ehrlich también, después de su medallas que logré en los Panamericanos, haciendo mucho trabajo para su compañera. También otras, Sofía Arriola enfrente, pero el equipo trabajando muy fuerte para Mejías. También, pues, Lauren Stevens está ahí detrás, porque estuvimos hablando con ella ayer y estaba diciendo que su sprinter se cayó enferma ayer, entonces no tienen el equipo como 2028, que muchas otras campeoneras que pueden ayudar a Stevens. Entonces nos vemos atrás de la llanta de Mejías y otros del 2028. También Fount está muy activa en estas primeras vueltas, trabajando por Jennifer Wheeler, pero también tienen a Leah Shaffey, el ganadora de Redlands Bicycle Classic, en segundo en la general. Entonces vamos a ver qué pasa, pero estamos esperando el segundo meta volante de intermedio. All right, Brad, a quick update in Spanish just for our Spanish listeners, and so getting back to the action here.
Confirming those sprint results from earlier, Marlise Mejías did pick up maximum points across the line, so that's going to give her outright green jersey lead. Lauren Stevens was second in that intermediate sprint, though, so that's going to be 3 seconds taken off GC for Mejías, 2 seconds taken off GC for Stevens, and then third place in that intermediate sprint, Mia Asseltine from the Comp Edge Racing team. They're going to be a threat for a stage win out there as well today. That competitive Edge team has a few very good sprinters on it, so we'll look for those white jerseys 41 through 45 on that squad. But we just watched another great GC square up on the front. Mejías and Stevens going to the line in the green and pink jerseys.
Sí, estuvimos hablando sobre los tiempos de bonificaciones. Mejías logré unos y también Stevens, entonces estamos viendo una gran batalla aquí en una etapa que no es una batalla pues tradicional en la general, pero con los tiempos de bonificación está pasando en esta etapa. Entonces vamos a ver, porque creo que hay uno más que queda en esta etapa para las mujeres. So just updating quickly the bonus seconds that were available for the general classification in a stage where we normally don't see a big battle in the GC in a crit like this, but with these time bonuses that more races are offering, it's really heating up the battle in that classification for the overall.
Also watch Automatic give it an absolute rip off the front. They sent one of their riders away, trying to get a little bit of space. Looks like they are going to start executing their plan about midway through the race here. We'll start seeing a lot more of those orange Automatic jerseys up front here. I love the way that they race. Super aggressive, not afraid to try things, not afraid to attack. They'll spend time in breakaways. They're gamblers through and through. I really like that racing style of Automatic.
Well, we've seen them being very aggressive, and they had they went well at Athens Twilight, and so they're in their comfort zone right now, so it's exciting to see them up in the front animating the race.
Group going to check up a little bit here. Speeds starting to drop. Group coming back together. A little bit of calm before the storm happening right now. That's going to be the chance for VBR to kind of take back over here. They won't let this stay calm for long, right? If they've got an opportunity to lift the tempo, to use Emily Ehrlich like they've been using her so far, they're going to take it. So I think they've got instructions out there to make sure that this race never gets too easy, right? You got to keep Lauren Stevens and Aliyah Shafi on their toes all night in this scenario.
Well, and we saw that yesterday, right? In stage 1, 2028 was very active on the front throughout the stage, and Fountain Ages were happy to let them do that, and they took advantage of that at the very end. So it could work for you, it could work against you. So it's just only time will tell to see what happens as the laps go on and in this stage. But yes, 2028 definitely plenty of cards to play and riders to lean on in trying to control the front. As we see, like, there's no breakaways have gone, not even attempts at a breakaway have succeeded. So definitely controlling the pace here.
This field has by far the hardest conditions to race in, the changing conditions all night tonight for the UCI women. Starting basically in full light, kind of racing through sunset, and now starting to see it get very dark here in downtown Wenatchee. The lights starting to turn on here. That's really going to change the way that this one races. It's so much different racing in the dark than racing under full daylight.
Yeah, just like our pro men that's going to start after this at 9 o'clock. It's going to be pretty dark, although they do have some floodlights, as you can see. But yes, it's very different riding at night versus hitting this course during the day.
Do our best to keep an eye on teams and jerseys up at the front. I'm going to guess that you'll see a whole lot of this, a lot of blue and a lot of white helmets of Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028. Look how comfortable they look up there controlling things. It was Anna Hicks you just saw looking over the shoulder, just checking on kind of the rest of her train, checking on this field, and probably most importantly, checking on Marleis Mejias here. It's a real pleasure to watch a team that knows exactly how to operate as a team. And not only that, as a 6-rider squad, right? They're going to use every single rider they got out there today in support of Marleis Mejias.
Exactly. That team has definite advantage over some of their rivals. I mean, Aegis, I think, only has 4 or 5 riders left in the race. And then, you know, you look at some team like Pato Bike as well, who have 4. So definitely an advantage there, especially in a night like tonight when they're needing to control their front, where they're needing to use their domestiques to protect Mejias. It's definitely to their advantage.
Talk a little bit about that Pato Bike team. They're in a pretty good position here. They have Lorena Villamizar in striking distance at 10 seconds back, although that's actually going to be a little closer now to 13 or 14 to Lauren Stevens and Marleis Mejias with some of these time bonuses that they've been picking up. But this is a team that could, again, really have a great performance this week. They got a lot of great climbers on that Pato Bike squad, but a lot of really fast finishers as well.
Yes, they also have Yarelia Acevedo, who got gold in the elimination race at the Pan American Championships under the track. So, Mexico has a very strong track program. They are consistently getting results on the podiums at the Pan Ams and other track competitions around the world. And so Yarelia Acevedo is one of those, that's part of the program for the national team. So definitely a team that you cannot dismiss. And I'm sure that we'll see Lorena on Tuesday on that final climb going for that win. But also in the time trial too, because she finished 3rd or 2nd, I believe, in Gila's or 3rd. She finished 3rd in Gila's time trial just last week. So we could see her in the time trial as well.
Have you had a chance to preview that time trial course, or have you had a chance to look at any of these other courses in Tour de Bloom? I know we're focused on the criterium and the speed tonight, but you can't really talk about these stories without kind of thinking about the overall picture of GC. What is that time trial like? I mean, we've seen this sort of matchup before with a lot of these GC contenders, but is there anything different in this time trial that they're going to be facing this week?
Well, I mean, I haven't personally gone out to see the course myself, but in talking to some of the riders, they were mentioning that, it's out on a rural road, that it's pretty exposed, and so if there's wind out there in Palisades, it can be pretty difficult. It's not a completely flat time trial, but at the same time, it's just a good course. But a lot of the riders were actually looking to Tuesdays. Excuse me. We typically have our final on a Sunday, but here at Tour of Bloom, we're finishing on a Tuesday. So the organizers switched the final to make it a little bit more challenging for the field that were coming in for the first UCI edition, and they added a climb in the final 3 kilometers. And speaking to Lauren Stevens and some of the other riders that previewed the course, they're just really eyeing that course, and they're saying that is definitely going to be brutal after a long 5 days of stage racing, including the other races that just happened with Redlands Bicycle Classic and the Tour of the Gila. So they said, it's not just that we have these stages before the finale, but that we've been racing consistently and transitioning, traveling between the races to get ready for the next race for the last 3-4 weeks. So they said it's definitely going to hit us on Tuesday.
Yeah, there are a lot of heavy legs in this field. There's a good portion of this roster that did that Redlands, Gila, Bloom trifecta, and man, it'll take a toll on you for sure. Like you talked about, even just the travel and transfer in between 3 weeks of living on the road, living out of your suitcase. That's it's never easy. So this will really be a capstone for a lot of these teams and a lot of these riders, kind of capping off these early spring campaigns to get them into the swing of things for the 2025 season. It's really nice that with the very little road racing there is in the United States, the fact that you can string these 3 together makes for a great spring campaign for any team.
Well, that and the fact that we have another UCI race that is so desperately needed in the United States. It was really great that the organization here was ready and willing and anxious to raise the level of the race here, specifically for the women, because they recognize that there's a lot of talent here in the United States, but that just doesn't have a lot of opportunity to showcase that talent here on the road. And so to have a community here in Washington and a race organization and sponsors as well, that were willing and wanting to bump the level up to UCI was just pretty phenomenal and pretty admirable of them, because it's not easy to raise a race to a professional level like UCI. And talking to the local sponsor, the Rookard Custom Pools, that is our stage sponsor here for the Downtown Twilight Crit. He mentioned, a couple years ago, I was just downtown and I didn't know about the bike race. I just kind of ran into it and I just thought, man, this is a cool event and how can I become a part of this? And so, it takes people like that, companies like Rookard Custom Pools, to really, just want to donate and help these athletes get to the next level. And he's actually, their company is actually sponsoring a little bit 2028 and some of the other teams that are here to kind of help them at the end of this trifecta here in Washington. So pretty cool.
Support all through the race. They were just sprinting on that lap for points and, again, intermediate time bonuses. So that'd be, I think, their third and final intermediate sprint. Looked like Mejias and Stevens going back at it. I'm going to wait final results here, but boy, this really sets up a great finale, doesn't it? As we look at this, has got to be a handful of laps to go. I can't see a lap counter here. You may be able to get a look at one on site here, but this is looking more and more like we're going to watch Marlies Mejias and Lauren Stevens go to the line again, and that opens the door to a finish for Aaliyah Shafi, for, let's say, competitive edge racing. Maybe they send Mia Asseltine up there. Those are the kinds of riders that can look at stage wins, while the 2 big dogs with Mejias and Stevens fight for the GC.
For sure. And we can't forget Found. They've got, Aaliyah Shafi, of course. So it's going to be a battle, and the fact that they're all together and they haven't let a breakaway escape is pretty exciting in these final laps.
Well, that sprint is going to go very similar to the last one, as Marlies Mejias will pick up maximum points in the green jersey. Lauren Stevens takes second in the intermediate sprint, and then Evany Blondin getting up there. You talked about the Canadian speed skater for automatic racing, just took third in that intermediate sprint at 11 laps to go. So I think this will be 10 to go that they're coming up onto now. They're going to continue running this preem bill as well. There's some cash preems out there on the line. But in terms of the green jersey battle, the GC situation, the time bonuses, I think they've just gone through their final intermediate time bonus. And Marlies Mejias, I think, going to sweep all three. I know she took the second and third, and I can confirm the first as well. So Mejias Garcia taking 1, 2, and 3 intermediate sprints. That'll add 9 total seconds to her GC time bonus tonight.
Well, we're just hearing that Riley McMullen had a rear flat, so one less in these final laps. Well, there's 11 laps to go. They're going to see, I think, 10 as they come through, probably just right now. They're seeing 10 laps to go. But, yeah, Riley, we're getting word that Riley McMullen had a rear flat, so we'll probably see her in the pits here. I'm actually right behind the pits, so I can't see the lap counter, but for sure.
Got a nice gap rolling off the front here. Looks like a few riders going to take a look. Unless those are lapped riders, we'll see over the next few laps here if we can ID these riders off the front. This is the time to go, though. I mean, if you're watching these sprints, Rebecca, and you're watching Marlies Mejias and Lauren Stevens continuously beat you to the line, I don't want to take either one of those in a head-on sprint. So I'm taking this fountain. It's going to be a fountain jersey for sure, taking this move off the front. This is the way to do it, right? You're not going to beat Mejias at this game, so you might as well challenge her to something else. They're going to try a late breakaway here to win this stage.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they got plenty of sprinters, I mean, between Alexi Snovar and Elizabeth Dixon. But, yes, I'm just sorry. I'm watching Riley Mullen right now in the pit. She's just about ready to get back into the race. But, yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I would definitely play the same card if I were found after seeing that train that 2028 has. But how long will they allow her out in front? You know, a lot of the times, too, teams want to try to sprint and kind of do a test run before the final lap. So that's another possibility that they were doing there.
Still dangling. Let's see if I can get an ID on this rider off the front. We know Fount for sure. Just trying to get a look at a number here. He's flying out there. Not seeing a ton of alarm from Virginia's Blue Ridge up there. They certainly have the firepower and time to reel this back in at this point. Just a few seconds off the front. If this goes any larger than like 10 or 11 seconds, then they got a real problem on their hands.
Well, and where the free laps have ended, so Riley McMullen just getting sliding into there. But yes, we'll see. I'm waiting on the number of Found. It looks like nope. I'm sorry. It might be Alexi Snovar. So if that is Alexi Snovar, we're going to try to see her as she passes in front of our booth here. But if that is Alexi Snovar, that is not a rider you want to let go escape.
I like this gamble from Fount to really, again, using the depth of their roster, using the strength of their riders to their best ability here. As, you talked about some of the sprinters, but this is a great breakaway move here. If you don't think you can take, let's say, Mejias and her Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028 train to the line, unfortunately, looks like they are going to reel this one back in and shut it down before it gets it becomes any bigger of a problem than it already was. So I think that's going to be it, and we'll hit the reset button here.
Yeah, we saw Lauren Stevens' fourth wheel there, keeping an eye on the front, staying safe as well, of course. Para los seguidores en español, tenemos 8 vueltas que quedan en esta etapa. Estuvimos viendo Fount en una ataca en estas últimas vueltas. Pues Riley McMullen, compañera de Marlies Mejias, tenía una punchada, pero ya está, ya volví en en la carrera. Entonces, vamos a ver, pero no tienen vueltas gratis. Pues vamos a ver qué pasa en estos últimos vueltas entre 20 y 28 found y también ages. So just a quick update in Spanish there for our listeners in Latin America. It's pretty cool. We've got people watching from Costa Rica and Colombia and Guatemala and all over. So it's pretty cool to have these live streams available.
We are getting down to the business end of this race. Group all together. Last daring attacks going away. Looking more and more like this one going to come down to a field sprint, especially as we start to see new teams and new legs hit the front. This is going to be CCB taking over right now. See, now that these fresh legs take over, this will be a welcome addition for a team like VBR, has been doing so much work up on the front. So now CCB going to try and get up there and keep things interesting. They've only got 4 riders, but I'm glad to see them contributing to keeping this race hot towards the end here.
Exactly. There's a lot of dark horses, as we can say, in the field right now. But Brad, I think I am going to be preparing to get to the finish because we are a bit far from where the finish line is. I want to make sure I get in position with our cameras so that we can bring you those finishing reactions and interviews. So I'm going to sign off here for a bit. I'll leave it to you, Brad, and we'll see how this turns out in these final laps.
All right, we will hold down the fort here and do our best to bring you the info as it becomes available. They're ringing the bell for a, sounds like, they're going to be at 6 to go right now. So as they get down towards the final 5 laps of racing here, sounds like there's still one more big preem in the hopper tonight as well. All right, just hit the line, seeing 5 laps to go on the counter. Things calm and in control up the front. Again, now's the time to go. Right at 5 laps to go. If you're going to have a chance at beating these trains, you got to go now. You got to try what Automatic and Fount have already tried to go in those last 10 laps or so. And so this should take us down to 4 as they come through the line here. Virginia's Blue Ridge still in charge, 1 and 2. Actually make that 1, 2, and 3. Mejia's getting pushed back a little bit. Here comes Fount starting to fight for control up at the front. And boy, Lauren Stevens doing a great job surfing that front tonight. Omnipresent up there in the pink jersey, really seeing a masterclass in how to stay near the front, but not at the front from Lauren Stevens. She's such a smart and experienced veteran bike racer where she really just knows how to ride her bike well, right? She knows how to ride in a group. She knows how to be efficient. She knows how to read the race, and she knows how to anticipate what's coming. So that is why she's spending so much time up here at the front. And even more impressive, really doing it without the Aegis teammates. They could be there for her. I mean, I know these riders have the legs and ability to get up there and support Stevens, but I have a feeling Lauren said, you know what, I'm good on my own up here. I can surf my way through this just fine. All right, so I think they're actually going to see 3 to go here. So take it down to 3 to go on the lap counter. Group still together. You're not going to get away at this point. This is it. This is going to be your race. You're going to be looking at a field sprint here. Your chances of escaping are gone. So we'll keep an eye on this. They also rang the bell for a $1,000 preem as they went through the line there at 3 laps to go. So here we go. We're going to see who's interested in the cash or who's interested in the stage winner. A lot of riders moving. Look at this action up the left side of the picture, right side of the screen here. These are the cash chasers. These are the riders going for the money right here. I see Stevens rapidly moving up in the pink jersey here. She's going to continue to fight for position, but now she's going to have a bunch of riders on her hands that are looking at this $1,000 preem. Mad dash up the outside, trying to move up here. We'll get a look at the sprint on the line for some cash. Virginia's Blue Ridge going to bulldoze through that one. Emily Ehrlich back up doing what Emily Ehrlich does best and just hammering this field tonight. Down to 2 laps to go on the counter now. They'll get the bells. They come through the line here. You can really feel the tension in the setup, the game of musical chairs being played in this group. It really is a race for position here. And this will be down to the final one, down to 1 lap to go. Fount infiltrating the train up here. Look at this. They got 1, call it 2 into the VBR train. Here comes Andrea Sear. She's going to lend her experience to this group now. Automatic trying to move up the outside. See if they're going to drag Pato Bike up with them as well. First time we're going to see one of these red jerseys up towards the front. See if Acevedo going to give the sprint to go here. And is this a gap? Has Fount escaped? Just flickering through the picture there. I thought I saw, yeah, there is someone escaping here. I think that's a Fount jersey getting away. And I'll call it good for Fount. We're going to confirm Aaliyah Shafi, your stage winner at the Tour de Bloom Criterium. Perfect ride for Fount. She proved me wrong. You can get away that late in the races. Shafi shocks the field, and she's going to win your stage and pick up a nice little time, 10-second time bonus. Looks like Marlais Mejia is going to pick up second on the stage, and we'll get you third place here shortly. But can confirm Shafi beats Mejias with a late race dodge on that downhill, gets away, and stays away onto the finishing stretch for a stage win. Certainly a bit of a hometown race for Fountain, a Seattle-based squad. I guess bi-coastal between Seattle and Kentucky as well, but certainly a lot of supporters up at this one. You can see them celebrating now on the left-hand side of your screen. What a moment for Fount to enjoy here for Aaliyah Shafi. She's got to get mobbed out here. All right, looks like they are going to set up for podium here. And I think Rebecca is going to try and get some interviews with Aaliyah and the Fount squad as well. So let's see if we can tune into that and try and get down to Rebecca or podiums.
team did incredible work. Talk about that final lap and when you escaped.
Oh man, I mean, wasn't necessarily the plan again, but teamwork. Andrea, like honestly, MVP over here, kind of let me go and turned around and there was a gap. Just kept going.
It wasn't the plan, but she gapped me in the hill. I took that corner to get on her wheel. She slammed the hill really hard. I just kind of sat up because I knew the teams behind me weren't going to expect it, and by then she had 10 bike lengths, and I knew she would hold it.
Getting second twice, finally, you're the top step. I mean, tell me, what does that mean in a race like this when you're racing against your top rivals?
Oh, it means so much to me. I mean, I respect all the other girls. Marleus, like, she's always one to beat, so it feels really good.
A big win in Redlands, and now here in the Downtown Crit at Stage 2. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Aaliyah Shafi, our 2025 Redlands Bicycle Classic winner, now winning here at Stage 2 in downtown Wenatchee at the Downtown Crit after her team did an incredible job. Andrea Sire next to her, becoming a stage racer, racing her first stage races this season, doing a lot of work for the win. Back to you, Brad. Good job by the team. Not the win, but still a very good night.
Intentamos quedarnos con la camiseta green y ganar al final. No se dio, pero buen trabajo del otro equipo y mi equipo lo hizo increíble hoy.
She said, great job. Our team did amazing, but the other team found was just a little bit better. So, but she secured the green jersey. ¿Qué piensas para mañana y las etapas que viene?
Lo vamos a seguir intentando. Quedan 3 etapas y creo que vamos a hacerlo demasiado bien. Así que esperen.
Pues buen hecho y espero que pues vamos a ver en el primer step.
Sí, esperen más del equipo. Todos estamos bien y creemos que podemos ganar más etapas.
Y un mensaje para los fanáticos en Cuba que están viendo su carrera hoy.
Nada, que sigan confiando en nosotros, que vamos a seguir dando lo mejor.
Buena suerte. All right, Marlies Mejia, second place, but securing her green jersey. Thus far, this is the second stage. We head to Plain Road race tomorrow. We're coming up with the podium in shortly, and then we will get the men's race started here in just 1 minute. All right. Thank you.
5.
Cycling Foundation, Lauren Stevens. In second, no, we haven't got Lauren here yet. We can't go any further till we get Lauren. Lauren, are you with us? We know you are, but just where are you? We want to bring you to the podium, so we gotta do it proper. Lauren Stevens, are you about? Are you within the sound of my voice? Lauren Stevens. I'm given the T sign. I have no idea what you're trying to tell me. We'll bring her. I called her to the podium. All right. Yeah, we can go. We got Lauren Stevens representing the Aegea Cycling team coming in third. In second place, representing Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028, Marlis Mejias. And our winner of tonight's Rookard Custom Pools Twilight Criterium, representing the Mount Cycling Guild, rider number 52, Leah Sheffy. With just a little faith, put your mind to it, you can show up, do it. Hey. Thank you, ladies. Awesome show tonight. I was so privileged to be able to witness that. Awesome. Next up, our final race of the evening, our elite men. up for our final race of the evening, the men's elites. Are we ready to pull them forward, Ace? I see you standing down there with the gentleman. No, we are not. Sure we give this proper amount of love to our sponsors, Mission Ridge, and of course Oakley, who supplied us with all the great shades that we're giving away to the racers this weekend, or for actually throughout the week, because our race does go until Tuesday. I want to thank Auburn Sports, Mission Ridge, Steel Properties, Creighton's Green and Weidenbach, Bollinger Custom Homes, Icicle Brewing, Physio Mender, all right, it looks like we've had a bit of a jersey change, so we are going to the sign-in sheets have been taken. They were behind me directly. The officials. Looks like we have had some change in the jerseys, so we are going to treat you all to a jersey presentation, which is super fun for me to call. Jersey winner, representing Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028, Marley Mejias. And as she steps down off the podium, what does she do? She grabs a new jersey, of course, because with all those points, those sprint points that we gave out, Marley Mejias is also now in green. The green sprinter jersey had a complete change at the top. There we go, Marley. Hands in the air, throws it up. We like it that way. And representing the Found Cycling Guild and remaining in that Mountain Climbers jersey is Jennifer Wheeler. Is Jennifer still with us? Apparently not. Apparently we're just doing the change. Gentlemen, please roll to the tape if you would.
Yo, Steve, I'm down here with David Girth from Red Kilo Racing. He has a few thoughts going into this race. I'm going to turn it over to you, Dave. Here we go. Okay. I wanted to say before we get started, there's something I need to say. Something we all need to say, and something we all need to hear. Everybody in the beer garden, listen up. In 2006 to 2010, there were stage races up and down this coast. all around the Pacific Northwest. It was the golden age of cycling in this region. The Wood River Classic, Cascade Classic, Columbia Plateau, Walla Walla, Enumclaw, and a little race in Washington's Okanagan in the shadow of the Cascade Mountain Range called the Tour de Bloom. Then, in 2008, the financial crisis hit, races started to disappear. Organizers burned out and aged out, and more late races left us. And then COVID was the final blow for many of these events. But here we are. For the ashes of these monuments, our stage races, one event fought and scrambled and then rose and then flourished. Year after year, the crew of the Tour de Bloom have poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this race and have created what we have here today. This is more than a bike race. This is a moment in time that everyone here on this start line, everyone here in this beer garden, everybody watching on the live stream should remember this is what sport is meant to be. This is what we can do when we gather a team of people and combine passion and good old-fashioned hard work. So thank you to all the folks, the volunteers, the staff that have built and maintained and grown the Tour de Bloom. Dude, turn it up. And I would be remiss if I didn't do one special call-up. Louder! The most important call-up of tonight. He has stood before us at race after race, year after year, and he'll tell you he's merely standing on the shoulders of giants. He'll wave off your compliments and ask you how he can do better next year. But we know that this man is the giant, a legend, an unstoppable force. He is the reason we have the Tour de Bloom. He is the reason so many of us continue to race and ride. And over.
All right, welcome back. We are at the start. They're doing the current call-ups. Ready for the pro men, the elite men here for stage 2. So we had an incredible finish with Aaliyah Shafi winning the women's race. It was a bit of a wait because the judges were calculating all the time bonuses, with Melise getting the 2 intermediate time bonuses, and then Aaliyah getting the final on the finish line. So it's going to be close. We're going to wait to see what the GC looks like in a little bit. But it's so part of that wait, that's why we're running a little delayed tonight, because we wanted to make sure that we got that GC correct and that we were able to get those photos for Marlies Mejias and Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028. All right, they're doing the call-ups here. We'll be starting in a few minutes. Sebas Brenes de Costa Rica, el subcampeón de los Panamericanos de ruta, directamente de Uruguay. Llegaron el lunes, nomás tiene un compañero aquí de Canels. Gané ayer en la etapa. Unos saludos a todos los ticos que están siguiendo esta transmisión. Pero sí, Sebas Brenes en el, liderando la general. También estamos viendo el campeón de Crit nacional de los Estados Unidos de Project Echelon, Stephen Bassett. Él también está liderando las montañas, pero una oportunidad, la única oportunidad hoy para poner su camiseta del campeón de nacional. Entonces nos ven en el camiseta de los Estados Unidos. All right, so we're going to bring Brad Soner back in here. Just a second. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I got you here. Can you run me through the rest of the call-ups on the front row? I know I heard Stephen Bassett going to debut the Stars and Stripes jersey here for the, sounds like, first and only time. Was it just the other jerseys that got the call-up?
Yeah, so we had because Stephen Bassett is actually also in the King of the Mountain jersey, but because this was the only opportunity that Bassett would be able to wear his Stars and Stripes since Project Echelon was overseas earlier this season, the race organization along with the judges were kind and very nice to allow him to wear that national jersey so that we could celebrate him. So no call out for the King of the Mountain jersey tonight, but we got the Stars and Stripes on course, and then of course the sprint jersey, the Best Young Rider jersey, as well as Cade Bickmore, Stephen Bassett teammate, because he won the sprint jersey at Gila last year. We wanted to call him up as well, and this is his first stage race in the United States this year, because along with Stephen, he was been overseas with Project Echelon. So great to have Cade Bickmore in the mix tonight.
Right on. Yeah, just a few more weeks in that Stars and Stripes jersey for Stephen Bassett. He'll have to defend that. He's in Charleston, West Virginia, where he won it last year. Coming up in about 20 days from now, we'll be racing for the Stars and Stripes jersey. So that's a great decision. I'm glad that he'll be able to fly that flag here, at least tonight in Wenatchee. Looks like they are into their final instructions. Media starting to clear out of the way. Should be able to get this one underway and racing soon. Rebecca, I think this is going to be a very similar story to what we saw in that women's race in terms of how this dynamic plays out. You're going to have a few major teams that try to control for as much of this as they can, but you'll see a lot of teams trying to sneak in and get a result tonight.
Well, not only that, but there are some pretty nice preems on offer tonight, thanks to Rookard Pools, Custom Pools, throwing in $2,000. So, we had a delay in the start, and Ace Bollinger, our race director, said, you know what, I've got $2,000 in my pocket. I'm sure that'll heat them up.
And we'll see where and when, I guess I should say, they give that out. They are crouched and ready to go on the line here. Let's talk about some of the favorites heading into this one. I think you got to put Stephen Bassett on that list, right? How do you ignore the Criterium National Champion, big power rider? This is going to be a great course for Bassett. We saw the way that Aaliyah Shafi won this women's race. Stephen Bassett can win this men's race in the same fashion.
Well, we also have Sebas Brenes, who is currently in the lead, but he also can sprint, as we saw yesterday, and getting second behind Hodge at the Pan American Road Championship. So that's no feat, even though he didn't win the championships there. He can definitely hold his own, even if he has got Cormac Mago alongside him. But they're two riders going against 6 from Project Echelon, so we'll see how it turns out.
Super impressive ride yesterday from Matthew Wilson as well for that POA Racing Squad. As it looks like we're getting underway. I'm going to keep my eye on the green jersey out there, see if Wilson spends any time up near the front. In fact, there he is right there, leading the guys out into turn 1.
Yeah, we spoke with him yesterday. So, he was really happy, even though he had hoped to get a little bit higher on the podium. They're very happy with his ride yesterday and getting that finish there. And we see him there on the front, wasting no time.
And even splitting this group, dare I say, a little bit here. Green jersey getting to work as he punches in, and looks like about 15, maybe 20 guys going to have a little shot at going clear here. Love these early race nerds. You know, this is the kind of race just like we saw at, let's say, Athens last week. We want to talk about similar criteriums here. You can go a lap up in a race like this. If you get the right mix of riders, you can get guys working together early on. This race is long enough and hard enough that a small group could get away and go a lap up.
Yeah, and you know, the wind is picking up a little bit. They've got a little bit of a headwind facing them coming down the finishing straight, and the temperatures are slowly dropping. We're hovering around 50 degrees now, but that wind has a bite to it. But I'm sure they're just worried about the wind that's hitting them, the headwind. But yeah, great. I want to see who the Project Echelon rider was that came around there. I'm not sure if you saw that number.
We'll get a look at him here. A little move rolling off the front. Tough to see for us on camera here in the dark. We'll do our best to identify these as numbers become available.
Several riders trying their chance off the front, but not getting much leeway.
They did have a second lap preem out there, so I guess that's this lap, I think, for $500. We'll see if we can get a result on that and figure out who's going to walk home with a little cash in their pockets, courtesy of Rookard Pools.
We are going to be racing the full hour despite the late start tonight. But yes, waiting on that result for the preem. Estamos viendo el primer vueltas de esta etapa aquí en el centro de Wenatchee. La temperatura está bajando un poco cuando el viento está subiendo también. Esperando los resultados del sprint y también del primer preem. El dinero que está en el último, en el primer o segundo vuelta, perdón. So go ahead, Brad. Just a quick update in Spanish there for our Spanish listeners. We actually have Sebas Brena's mom watching us. She sent us a message on social media how proud she was to see her son in the leader's jersey. And could we please give her share the link so she can watch it from Costa Rica? So pura vida a todos que están viendo de Costa Rica y para Sebas Brenas.
She picked a good one to watch. Brenna's having a good result yesterday, and looks like he's going to be back out contending this one today. Mad chaos on the front of this one so far. There's really no one in charge yet. This is going to be Project Echelon taking off. I think realizing that this one is going to be pretty crazy early on here, so they'll try and get a little group going away here. Looks like Expediter's going to send one with them as well, so we're starting to see the first shakeouts of a move going. I think they let things cook and simmer for a little bit just to get a feel for things, and they're not really liking the vibes up there, so Project Echelon looks like they're going to put their guys up there and maybe try and split this early.
Well, it seems that every time that they pass in front of our booth here, somebody else is on the front and somebody else is taking a flyer. So definitely a lot of action on the front in these first laps. Multiple teams trying to take control of this field tonight.
We'll see if any of these preems or intermediate sprints have any impact on the way that this race plays out. So a major shift in the GC on the intermediate sprints in that UCI women's race that just wrapped up there. So I'm wondering if we get the same scenario here in the elite men's race. Not a UCI race here, but these guys pretty much racing the same program, same system. So with these intermediate sprints coming up, I would expect to see the pink jersey of Sebastian Brennis making his way up towards the front.
Yeah, he was saying Cormac McGough lives not too far from here. They're staying at his parents' house, and so he said, it's great to win in front of his teammates, family, and giving back a little bit for hosting him here this week. So, yep, only two guys, but they're two very strong guys. Cormac has raced Tour de Bloom several times, so it's a race and course that he's quite familiar with. There are some slight cobbles, bricks on the backside. So there's, luckily we don't have any rain. Last year it was very wet here in downtown, so a little cold, a little wind. I'm sure the riders don't mind at all with those considering what they faced last year.
Could always be worse in bike racing. Gotta constantly remind yourself of that one. Fighting continuing on the front. I'm seeing a bunch of Expediters up there. I'm seeing a bunch of Project Echelon up there. Looks like iSpeed getting a bunch of their guys up there. The white jerseys with kind of pink highlights, I think. Taking a look. So good to see teams getting organized early on here. I'll let you know when they ring that bell for the intermediate sprint. We should get word of that over our little digital race radio that we got going on here. But for the most part, things pretty calm early on here in this Pro Men's Criteria.
Yeah, it looks like they're happy to stay another flyer there, but Project Echelon just shutting it down.
Well, Project Echelon is certainly going to make sure that nothing goes without them. I think that was maybe a Mike's Bikes jersey. They're another one that would have some very strong long-range guys here that could get into a breakaway. So I would take a Mike's Bikes move seriously. I'd be happy to take a Mike's Bikes rider with me into a breakaway in a scenario like this.
Well, we also saw Monteo Racing, a team from Canada, here racing. We saw them at Redlands earlier this season. Saw them on the front a couple of laps ago, so they're in the mix as well, trying to see what they can do tonight to get a result. But yeah, a lot of different teams very active on the front. It seems keep multiple shuffles with every lap. But yes, Project Echelon still up there, doing what they do best.
This is a tough night even just to stay at the front. I mean, we saw this with like Lawrence Stevens trying to just kind of hang out near the front a lot in that pink jersey. Obviously, you got a big bullseye on your back. I don't know that that gets you the grace that it used to, the respect that the leader's jersey used to demand. Maybe a little different these days, but you're constantly fighting that washing machine effect, trying to make sure that you stay near the front. I think we're going to see a lot of guys just dealing with that all night tonight. And this pro men's field seems to be just a little more chaotic than that pro women's field. It's going to be a whole lot tougher to defend position against a bunch of charged up guys like this tonight.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of shuffling in the field from the back, from the front all the way to the back. And, of course, that yo-yoing effect that you talk about. I mean, with a headwind, it's not too strong, but it's picking up a little bit. And so that doesn't make it any easier trying to stay connected to the back of the field as this battle continues at the front.
See how long this field is getting as well. Just 10 minutes in already. Going to be somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds long from the front of this race to the back. Another good reason to hang out near the front. Yeah, see this spreading out up near the front. That is going to be an iSpeed jersey getting up there. I'm having trouble seeing really any numbers on my screen here, but I think I do recognize maybe Ricky Arnapol up there from Project Echelon. what I'm trying to figure out is who's wearing the Project Echelon Aero helmet out there tonight. They have been utilizing that more and more. I think it was Colby Lang wearing it at Tour de Gila last time we saw them. He rocked that thing in the Criterium, spent a bunch of time up on the front. So trying to see if they're back with the Aero helmets for the Criterium tonight. Here's a nice little look off the front. Solo rider away here. Let's see if anyone joins him. A lot of looking around up there. Trying to pass the buck, get someone else to do the chase and get up there. Certainly want someone up there. If you're racing for an hour, you got 50 minutes of racing left, a little under 50 minutes at this point. I think this is probably a little too early to go alone. 2, 3, 4 guys be a perfect scenario here. Let's see if he gets any help. Doors open. It's a great opportunity here. Here comes someone up the left side. They're going to jump up and try and go across. This is Thomas Fuller from the iSpeed Racing team, number 332. Got some company here, but the company brought company. Going to drag that one back as Fuller will go back into the field. Love the attempt, though. Good jump there from the iSpeed rider as Thomas Fuller took a brief look off the front. Seems to have been mostly incident-free so far. We really only heard about a few flat tires in that pro women's field. I think this course has got a nice flow to it. They did a good job building this one, keeping the tempo high out there. Here's the green jersey. Back up and doing some work. Matthew Wilson with his POA Racing Squad reporting up to the front. That'll earn Wilson some respect among the big dogs in this field. Wilson certainly deserves it with his ride yesterday, but doing all the work in the Criterium, contributing some of your guys, that's the kind of things that make the big teams take notice. These guys getting whiplashed at the back. I talked about this yesterday a lot in the rolling hills of yesterday's road race. Very similar concept in this Criterium. It's really only a place for pros to be hanging out at the back, right? It's a really dangerous place if you're not 100% confident in how to ride back there. So same thing in this Criterium. You're going to see two types of riders at the back here, guys that are there because they want to be and guys that are there because they have to be. The ones that are there because they have to be are going to be the ones that are getting yo-yoed off the back as now a new attack jumping off the front here. Again, these guys will pay the price at the back, but let's see if we can ID these two jumping away. I think I saw some red, maybe orange. Either way, I think they're going to regain contact with the front here. So tough to get away from this field.
All right, I'm back.
Right on, welcome back, Rebecca. We are just looking at a group all together. I just on Expeditors jersey, taking a look off the front. Anything new on your end on site? You're on the ground in Wenatchee. I am remote from home. Anything changing during your little walkabout?
Not so much. I saw a little bit of action in the pit, but not too much. Just a couple of riders coming through, but just minor mechanicals, but they're all back in the field. But yes, we just continue to see this multiple attacks, but nothing is being allowed to escape. So very active, a very difficult stage with all this action.
Should be getting the bell here for points. Or maybe they've already gone through for the points bell. We'll see if we get some results coming up here. It would have just gone through here. There's the confirmation in. Christopher Ernst going to pick up maximum points. That was the Expeditors rider I picked up earlier as you just came back. And it looks like they're going to go 1 and 2. They got Kaylor Marshall across the line for second in that first intermediate sprint. So Expeditors going to be on a tear here tonight.
Well, Kaylor Marshall is a past winner of the Tour of Bloom, so he's definitely familiar with this course and this race and how challenging this course can be. So not surprised to see him up in the front. Chris Ernst also, I believe that he came back he's a track rider. He had some success on the track not too long ago, so not surprised to see those two on the front. But we're still checking to see who is third, but as we go through those results, we continue to see some changes on the front, although Project Echelon is trying their best. They're fighting with control. We see Sam Boardman up there, but Mateo Racing back up trying to get over Boardman there at the front as they pass in front of us.
Yeah, they are not giving this one up to Project Echelon easily. This is a team who's used to being able to get to the front when they want to, but looks like they are really challenging these guys, really good riders getting up to the front and not able to control this one as easily as they had hoped. Now more brakes starting to jump away. Here we go, big action rolling off the front. This might be another Project Echelon jersey. My screen freezing up a little bit as they rolled through here, but big attacks coming out of this group, just nothing able to stick, not for a lack of trying so far tonight.
Well, just how much is that going to take out of their legs for the finish? With so many attacks and going, launching those attacks and then getting caught only seconds later. We're seeing Cormac McGough on the front, right in front. It looks like Caleb Clayson. We could be wrong on that, but Cormac taking over the front for the pink jersey for Canels Java.
I like this. Cormac McGough, comfortable riding up the front for sure. He corners really, really well. Great bike handler. He'll enjoy a little bit of time up on the front here. And look at this, going to change the shape of this race. He starts to string this out a little bit. Things were starting to calm down. They were starting to bunch up, but Cormac having none of it and getting these guys back to work.
Yeah, and it looks like Christopher Ernst might have moved into the virtual lead of the sprint jersey. We'll see what happens at the end of the night, but that's why we're seeing Expeditors up there. He's just 2 points behind Sebas Brenes, who is also in the lead of that classification after the pink jersey, but even more attacks coming as they come through the finish line. Sam Boardman looks to his right as he sees two different teams trying their hand at attacks.
This is fun to watch. Sam Boardman, a fight for control. This is really one of the things that Boardman does best for this Project Echelon team is get to the front of the bike race when he's needed by any means necessary, right? He's such a good teammate that if he's given a role or given a job, he will, fight to the death to complete it. And I think that's what he's doing right now. His job tonight was clearly get to the front and stay there if you can. And he said, well, I'll try my best.
Well, the team had a vote on social media for who was going to wear that white helmet that their teammate wore at Tour of the Gila, and Sam was like, "No, I don't care if I get chosen. I'm not gonna wear that." But definitely, once the races, he's definitely will do with the team, what he can for the team. But it's interesting. I haven't seen that white helmet here in Bloom, although we did see it in Gila.
Maybe the guy's united against the Arrow helmet. Green jersey doing a ton of work up here on the front. He's going to babysit these moves and watch them roll off the front. Here goes another one. You're going to see a nice little groove coming by when they roll back through the line here shortly. Expeditors doing a good job patrolling things as well. I'm seeing a lot of those light blue jerseys up there. I think they are going to be my other major factor this week is watching a very organized Expeditors team race here at Tour de Bloom.
Well, it is their race. They have 3 winners on their squad. Kent Ross, the most recent, who won last season, including Kaylor Marshall as well. But yes, definitely familiar with this race. And as we see Stephen Bassett, our Stars and Stripe, leading the field through the finish line as we hit about 21 minutes of racing out of this hour that we have tonight. It's great to see the Stars and Stripes out on front.
We'll call this a little parade lap for Stephen Bassett. See if he gets any space in the National Champs jersey. Maybe. Got a little space. Nope. Just a second or two between a couple guys there off the front. Well, if Stephen Bassett can't get away with an effort like that, that speaks to how strong this field is because they don't get much stronger or quicker than Bassett.
Not even in the Stars and Stripes will they allow him to go out. So yeah, they're not having any of it tonight.
Saw a preem earlier from Blake Macheris picking up a little cash for Team Mike's Bikes. We saw that jersey just rolling off the front a little bit ago. Ducking in for a $100 preem, picked that one up.
Yeah, so Sean Hollenbach, I was just confirming that Sean Hollenbach, who is currently in green, won this race in 2022, so just a couple of years ago. So not surprised to see him out monitoring the front, kind of taking advantage of Project Echelon's number of riders and the work that they're doing, even though they're not necessarily having control over the field. They are doing a lot of work bringing back or shutting down the multiple attacks that are attempting to escape.
I think I saw Canal's jersey back up there. Gotta love the Cormac McGough mission, I guess. Support your local race and race hard, right? If he's going here, he might as well race. I don't think he's got many other speeds than go as hard as you can. So it's nice to see Cormac out here with an abbreviated team, but certainly not an abbreviated effort.
Well, not only that, but when he got into Canals, not speaking a lick of Spanish, an Irishman among all these Spanish, these Mexican riders that didn't really speak English either. So hats off to him to wanting to go that route, and now Owen Wright is assigned to the team, so he's racing with him now as well, and he doesn't speak any Spanish, but it's great to see them kind of, not being afraid to go with them. And, another thing, too, is that Canals itself is the longest running sponsor in the Americas, in cycling here in the Americas. And they began their sponsorship in 1984, and they have continued with Canals all through the next 4 decades. So it's pretty impressive that they're still here in 2025 sponsoring the team and seeing that jersey in the peloton.
Looks like they're doing the sponsor proud. Another move rolling off the front here. This is going to be an iSpeed jersey. I can spot that one from a mile off. See if this is maybe Fuller going again, or maybe one of his teammates, a strong guy like Brian McCullough, could have an impact on this race.
Well, we have
not going to get away.
We have the Watson brothers also racing for iSpeed, their first professional race. We saw them at Redlands in the junior racing the last 2 years, dominating the junior category, both Jack and Eli winning stages at Redlands. And so their first professional race here, and they are coached by Brian McCullough and his wife Joy. And so experiencing their first stage race among the elites.
Well, they picked quite the stage race to get a taste of pro racing here. Brutally fast criterium and 5 days of really tough racing here at Tour de Bloom as well. There's not really a day. This will be the easiest day, the criterium day, and it's an hour of intense chasing. A lot of redlining going on out there. Aside from the 3 more road races and the individual time trial, there's really no days of rest out here. So hats off to the Watson brothers. I saw a great ride at Redlands in their 1-2 race, but nice to see them jumping up to race with the pros here.
Yeah, we say I spoke with them this just before the start as we were waiting for them to start and asking if it was as hard as they thought it was going to be. And they said for sure, no, it was harder yesterday especially. They said, no, this is tough, but we're having a great time, and we're really honored or, just grateful that they're able to race alongside their coach who has been, guiding Brian, almost 10 years now racing in the pro level, able to race alongside them in the peloton for their first pro experience.
Well, if they thought yesterday was tough, I got bad news for them. Another 75 miles on tap tomorrow for the plain road race on Sunday for the elite men. They're going to be doing 3 of those loops. Then it takes us to the individual time trial on Monday, the 5th. That'll be the shortest day, but if you've ever ridden a time trial, you know that could very easily be the hardest day out there. And then our final day here at Tour de Bloom takes us to the Ed Farah Memorial Road Race on Tuesday, where the men are going to conquer 55.6 miles of pretty much constant up and down out there on the roads outside of Wenatchee as well. So they're in for a tough week. If you can survive this criterium, you got 3 more days of very tough racing ahead of you at Tour de Bloom.
Well, it's really neat to see the diversity of the stages where Wenatchee kind of sits in a valley alongside the Cascade Mountains, and so there's a lot of different terrain, a lot of farm, of course, apple orchards, but a lot of different opportunities to switch up the terrain and challenge them. Oh my goodness!
Yep, saw that big pile up about halfway through that field. There's your split right there. And a bunch of guys going into the barriers. You're about to have a bunch of customers over in your neck of the woods near the pit.
Yeah, I'm right behind the pit, and the team mechanics are rushing around, getting their wheels ready to see who's going to be coming in the pit as soon as they come around. But yeah, we're going to see a lot, unfortunately, some busy mechanics here in front of us.
Another good reason to ride the front, obviously minimizes your chances of getting caught in a crash. Right about there is where the crash happened. That split right there is definitely a result of it. We'll see if these guys are going to take advantage of it. I mean, you can certainly look at it as an opportunity, a reward for riding the front to be on the right side of this split.
Yeah, we're starting to see riders coming into the pit now, including Tom Fuller of iSpeed Racing. We did see the pink jersey in that front group, so he's safe. And a few, I think the green jersey is still up front. Let's see.
Say they might.
I think they're neutralizing it. Yeah, so I am gonna go. Let's see.
Yeah, I think best thing to do here is maybe listen in on the PA announcers. So I think they're going to have the most up-to-date information in this scenario in terms of restart. So let's see if we can listen in on that, and then we'll pick back up when racing resumes here.
I see Cade Bickmore getting serviced. He was involved with the crash, but he looks okay along with Ricky Arnapol. Gord Fraser helping a couple of his cyclists get situated. All right, they're just gathering everybody, making sure everybody's able to get to the pit and get service before we get things going again.
This is a tough one. It really messes up your rhythm, throws off the smoothness of the night for sure. And God forbid, causes some damage in the group. So we are neutralized right now because of crash on course. They're going to attend to those riders, make sure that they're safe first, and then once that course is clear of those downed riders, they will resume racing. Anyone that had a gap will be given that same gap, but I think they were all together, so pretty sure they're just going to restart this one as is.
Looks like the last bit of riders are lining up. Ricky Arnapol back in and Cade Bickmore back at the starting line. Looks like we got a sprint, our second intermediate sprint results. Sam Hoagman from Manteo Racing is first on that intermediate sprint, along with, and then Blake Machetas of Mike's Bikes in second, and then let me see, Cameron Beaumont of POA Racing in third. If I believe I'm reading them correct, Brad.
It's an interesting mix up near the front. Not the usual suspects in that points competition. Good to see those guys getting up there and keeping it interesting. Wonder if that was in the chaos of all this.
It's hard to tell. We just received them, and it was shortly after the crash, so...
Yeah.
A lot of riders going back and forth, lining up. Nope. I still need a derailleur adjustment, coming back to the mechanics. Seat posts being adjusted, things like that. But
yeah,
as far as the riders...
you get some optional repairs in these scenarios, right? And you're not sure if you're going to have enough time to get those serviced or not. And then you see this mad rush back to the line, and all of a sudden you realize this one's about to take off again.
Well, and we're seeing Ricky Arnapol getting a front wheel change, so a few more things going on, but it looks like they're about ready to get started again here shortly. The good thing is that we haven't seen any injured riders, so that's always nice to see after a crash. Estamos esperando. Los oficiales paró la carrera después de esa caída. Vimos a Project Echelon, Cade Bickmore, también a Ricky Arnapol también con los mecánicos arreglando su bicicleta, pero ya casi todos están listos para empezar otra vez. Todos los chicos se ven bien afuera de los mecánicos, pero listos para empezar otra vez. Well, Brad, and the one time that there was a split, crash would come all together, but we'll see how they start this race again. we see Cormac McGough talking to one of the officials, kind of explaining, I guess, from his point of view, what happened on the backside. Brian McCullough next to him. The Sebas Brenes, our pink jersey, next to Brian. And his teammate Cormac.
Yeah, no surprise that those guys are up near the front. That is by design, right? They have fought for that spot all night over the last 30 minutes. They deserve to be up there near the front. That is reaping the rewards of the hard work that guys like Cormac McGough have been doing tonight.
I haven't seen the Stars and Stripes. I'm looking for Bassett there, but I don't see him. Hopefully he's back in that mix and he's just hiding. But I don't see the Stars and Stripes. We didn't see him in the pit, so.
We'll give it a couple laps, see if it reappears. Looks like the mood has just broken. I see Gord bringing a jacket over everyone, all of a sudden kind of relaxed a little bit more. They must have just told him that it's going to be a little bit longer here. The discussion continues with the chief or with the refs here.
Yeah, that is the chief ref. Yeah, it's interesting because it is cool. The temperatures are pretty chilly here, and so stopping in the middle like this and kind of cooling down just a little bit, you know, what does that do to the legs?
Obviously, safety on the race course is number one for the race directors and officials here. They're going to make sure that the any riders that are down are taken care of, and then before they resume the racing, they'll make sure that this course is as safe as possible for these riders. But yeah, it certainly doesn't help the legs with a stoppage like this. The longer that this goes on, the heavier those legs are going to feel during the restart. They were just getting going at 30 minutes in. The engine's running hot, right? That's about as fast and as hard as you're going to go 30 minutes into a criterium, and now just sitting, just letting that lactic acid build up here. But the good news is everyone's got to deal with the same thing, right? It's a level playing field in this scenario. So even though it may be a bummer for some of these riders, well, it's a bummer for everyone. So it'll be interesting to watch this restart here.
Well, we just got word that Cameron Beaumont, after that sprint result, is just slightly ahead now in the U23 classification, ahead of Ice Speed Pro Racing. So we'll see how that turns out. But I guess that's why we saw him in the, going for that sprint and those time bonus.
So Steve, I'm down here with the Ice Speed guy.
So we're seeing more riders, I guess, going in the pit, I guess, having made their way back around. We're seeing more action in the pit, I guess, trying to get those last few riders ready to go and making sure everything's good to go and they're okay and their bikes are good to go. So officials also in the pit making sure that they do not start the race before everybody's ready to go and has been serviced.
Rebecca, I'm not sure if you're able to hear any of the PA announcements going on. Any sense of what the restart will look like in terms of time or laps or anything like that?
They haven't. The last announcement was just making sure that the last riders that the riders that needed to get serviced were getting serviced in the pit, and so they're trying to make sure that every rider is accounted for, so that they can see about how they're going to restart and when they're going to restart.
All right, so it sounds like we will remain in a holding pattern here. These guys seem to have gotten comfortable as well, so this one might be a little longer than anticipated. It's just part of bike racing, though. Got to figure out how to deal with these scenarios and adjust accordingly, whether that means a shortened race after resuming or the full distance just with some heavier legs after the pause here. We'll see what the officials decide and call that race directors make here as well.
And we see the race director just in front of us, in front of the camera there, Ace Bollinger, longtime race director here at the Tour of Bloom. So he's making sure, talking to the officials to see what will be best for the stage and for the riders as well, because we do have an early start tomorrow, at least for the women. The guys will start later in the afternoon, but it's about a 45-minute to an hour drive from the downtown area here in Wenatchee to get out to Plain, to the winery out there where the race, where stage 3 is located for the start. So it looks like they're getting closer to start. We're getting an update here shortly from our officials. Just speaking with Martin Acosta, who came by our booth here, just letting us know how the crash happened, and just across the wheels in one of the turns, and everybody kind of crashing over each other, having nowhere to go after that. But Mr. Acosta wants to say hello to his family. Martina Acosta saying hello and from here in downtown as he goes back to the start as they get ready.
I was going to say, give him the mic. Well, we got time.
I know. It was like, got to get my cord here so we can extend it a little bit. All right, so it looks like unfortunately we've got Cole Davis getting checked out by medical. I think it looks like a collarbone, but will hopefully not. But we'll see. But you stop talking. Talking with the mechanic too, so I think that's why we're on a little bit of a delay there, just making sure there are no other injuries or any rider that needs to be checked out.
Well, Ace Cam is looking good up here on the front. Looks like he is awaiting information as well. I see an official. They're going to have a chat. That usually means that there's some information incoming here.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to get you back up and running here real quick. We have another sprint opportunity, so we are not going to shorten the time.
All right, let's see if we can listen into Ace. I know we had a PA feed earlier. Let's see if we can bring that up here.
Actually, I'm hearing it just fine. They're going to start the race here in a few minutes. They are not going to shorten the race. They're going to, because there's another sprint, intermediate sprint before the finish, they're going to keep the clock where it's at. So we will not have our race shortened tonight, but they will be starting in a few minutes. Or a few seconds.
Looks like they're going to roll them up to the line right here.
So it looks like there was a rider who broke a chain and lost it on course, and that's why they were trying to clear to prevent any further mishaps out on the course. So I guess that was the holdup.
All right, so looks Looks like we'll still have about 35 minutes of racing for an hour total. There's about a 20-minute delay here. And here we go, back underway and rolling. Let's see how quickly the rhythm resumes here. 20 minutes is a long break in this scenario, so these guys are going to have to shake those legs out, get back to work quickly, because 35 minutes is going to go fast on the other side of that break.
All right, restart with 24 minutes on the clock. Ya empezamos otra vez con 24 minutos que queda en esta etapa. Nos vimos uno de los de Project Echelon que lastimó un poco, pero espero que todo sale bien con él. Pero ya empezamos, vimos Sebas con Cormac enfrente esperando y otra vez enfrente del grupo principal para Canals Java.
Well, just like that, this race starting to get a little longer from front to back here as the big team starting to report back up to the front. And the attack's going to start to fly here as these guys roll off the line, not afraid to get the party started early with about 40 minutes of racing to go. Check that, restarted with 24, so we'll call this 23 minutes of racing to go. I apologize again. Restart was with 24 into the race, I think.
It's a little tricky.
Maybe you can clear it up from on site, Rebecca.
Yeah, I think I'll need to do that here in a second. But it looks like Team RF Foundation is on the front, and a familiar name is among them, or actually, Alan Schroeder had started with them, but it looks like he's not. I'm not sure if he's still in the race. We got to check on that, but he had joined their crew. Oh yeah, he's still. Yep, he's there. Excuse me. So Alan's not surprising to see them off. Alan's such a breakaway specialist during his time with CS Velo.
Another attempt trying to go away here. These guys lighting the fuses after the restart, but still having trouble getting away. It is going to succeed in thinning out the front of this race a little bit, but some big jumps coming up the side here. You also see how these guys shift all the way over the left side as they come out of this final corner. The apex takes you to the right, and then they shift all the way over to the left side again. I assume just trying to control one side of the road and then set up for this left-hand turn into turn one as well. More gaps forming here on this little uphill kick. I'm noticing out of turn one, Rebecca, there is a nice little uphill drag there. That's a good chance to get away.
Yeah, and that's where the cobbles are. We just saw Tim McBurney on attack, taking an attack there for Team Mike's Bikes. He was came out of Team California last year with a strong rider for Team Mike's Bikes. But yeah, we saw him off the front with Stephen Bassett. Sam Boardman was up there too, but Stephen Bassett was quick to shut his move down. But yeah, that first turn, it's slight uphill, not too bad, but after this kind of racing, it's definitely a try. And we see Sebas Brenas go for the sprint ahead of Stephen Bassett, our national champion. Then I'm not sure if that's Cormac McGough. I can't really tell. I didn't quite see him, but yep. The pink jersey wanting those bonus points, or rather it was a preem, I think, a $500 preem.
Yeah, they're going to call that a preem winner on the front. And they're saying that goes to Campbell Parrish from the tag cycling team that got up there. I saw the pink jersey as well. I saw Seba Brennis jumping to the front, but there might have been a yellow and white jersey that slipped in there, as again, they're reporting Campbell Parrish 4:14 to win that pre, but it was a good sprint one way or another.
Yep. It was nice to see the pink jersey take on the Stars and Stripes.
And now there's going to be a little split on the back of that. Looks like Project Echelon trying to get away here. Going to take 2 with him. That'll put 3 away. And that's a good looking split here. These guys going to have some legs.
Yeah, we saw Cormac on the front trying to shut that gap down behind. It looked like Sam Boardman. I'm not sure who the other Echelon rider was ahead of them. But, yeah, Cormac working really hard as we see him there in the screen to shut that gap down for Sebas.
Trying to identify the other 2 jerseys. I think it's maybe Mike's Bikes and, well, it's not going to matter because they're going to be joined by, call it 3 more, another split behind them. It's really also going to take, to get a group away in this scenario here, Rebecca, it's going to take one rider to really drop the ball on letting a gap open up here. And it's just a matter of finding that right rider. These guys got a good-looking group going through the line here. They got a nice split. They're organized. Let's see if they can roll this one.
Yeah, Project Echelon once again, and Team Mike Spikes. I want to say that's Tim McBurney. We'll try to get a confirmation on that. And along with those 3 other riders. But, yep, just a slight advantage ahead of the field. But if you want anybody to be with you in the race for Sebas, Cormac is a good guy to have. The rest of their team is competing at a race in Guatemala, which is why we don't see more Cano's jersey. And we just see a slight crash in the back here.
Maybe that curb coming in a little bit. Meanwhile, up the front, still got the gap going. I don't think that crash going to have any major impact on a race scenario here. They should be able to continue this one without having to neutralize it. So good news for the breakaway.
Yep, officials confirming course is clear, so the race will go on.
Unfortunately, those 5 guys getting nowhere fast.
Trying to get numbers for you here in the break. So as we see Alex Martinek getting serviced in the pit now.
Well, if you get those numbers for the break, go ahead and tear them up and throw them out the window. They just got caught, so.
Kind of the story of the night. So another move shut down.
Not for a lack of trying, though. It's been a super aggressive league men's race out here. I mean, plenty of teams willing to sacrifice guys to try to get away. Super impressed with Mike's Bikes. They've been really aggressive up on the front here, as I think they've been present in just about every move, but just haven't been able to get it to stick. And I think that also speaks to the overall talent of this field. There's just too many guys that are good enough to chase them back.
Well, Mike Spikes has been racing Tour de Bloom for quite some time. Even Lucas has done well here in the past, and I was talking to some of the riders yesterday, just saying how much he was wanting to get a good result again, especially among the field that we have here this year. So not surprised to see Mike Bikes trying their hand at the front, or at least trying to gain a position. But we really... not one team. I mean, other than Project Echelon shutting down a lot of these attacks, there's not really one team that's controlling a lot of this. So it's an interesting shuffle among the field there.
It'd be interesting to watch later on in the race if we're able to see bigger trains form as well. I'll keep using Project Echelon as an example, one of the biggest teams in this race. I'm only seeing 1 or 2 Project Echelon guys at a time, and they seem like they're trying to get away. I mean, it seems like they're trying to split it. They've been jumping and following moves that go At what point, though, do we see them sort of revert back to a full train on the front, just try and control this one all the way through? I guess that comes at the point that it's clear that a breakaway can no longer go away, and that's not until we get down to single-digit laps to go.
Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, we've seen multiple riders, different riders from Echelon, taking their turns to shut these gaps down. And so Echelon, using a lot of their teams, but it's good because it's rotating with as much action and effort it is to shut down these attacks. Doing a good job of it as a team. I mean, as a field, again back all together. We're hearing that Kaylor Marshall had dropped a chain, which he had been in one of the earlier moves alongside his teammate. So.
Surprised we don't see more of those drop chains with this sort of cobbled section. Could you describe that for the viewers at home? If you had a chance to kind of walk that cobbled section, I'm thinking about the going into the last turn. There's that kind of downhill run in between turns 3 and 4. How bad are the cobbles? How slick are they? What's it like there in Wenatchee?
So the cobbles are like bricks. It's not like your Paris-Roubaix cobbles where these big, stones, okay. But no, it's like just bricks with slight, different edges, but it's not so bad. It's not as bad or as technical as some of the other cobbles that we've seen in the past, like in Virginia at the World Championships back in 2015. But I did take a picture of it earlier this afternoon, just so fans could get an idea of what it looks like. So we're posting that on Instagram now, so you guys can kind of see what they're facing. It's not too bad, but a little slight uphill. And when you're having a race like tonight with as much action as there is, it can prove to be a little bit more challenging.
All right, there you go. Check it out on the Tour de Bloom Instagram at Tour de Bloom. Becca's doing a great job with all the content over there. You get a good look at what those bricks look like that these riders are facing, and maybe shaking some chains loose out there today. Another split rolling off the front here. Another attempt to get away here. My back of napkin math tells me there's about 20 minutes of racing to go, something like that. We were on about a 20-minute delay when we restarted from that earlier crash, and so I'm guessing about 20 minutes left to go here. We're also going to be ringing the bell for points coming up. So this is where Seba Brennis is going to be trying to fight his way back up to the front. See if that pink jersey can get up where he wants to be.
Cormac continues to stay on the front with Tim McBurney behind him. And then Project Echelon, I'm not quite sure who that is. I didn't get a good look at him. But, yep, Cormac just putting every effort in for Sebas. To protect that GC heading into tomorrow.
Preem bell going to ring again for $500, and they're going to start counting laps, showing these guys 9 laps to go now. So we are on the counter at 9 laps to go and 500 cash on the line. Boy, these last 9 laps are going to fly by here. So strap in, get ready. We're down to single digits here in the Tour de Bloom criteria.
And it looks like we just got sprint results with Samuel Hogman once again taking top as we see an attack from Echelon through the line, getting that $500 preem.
Nice.
Then in second place, our national champion, Stephen Bassett, getting second in that, sprint result. And then finally, Giovanni Romero in third for Ice Speed Pro Racing. So those are your results for sprint number 3. 8 to go as they're coming around, heading back to the finish.
Nice to see Bassett get up there into the sprint. I have a feeling that means that he may be a contender in this finale tonight in 8 laps from now. But we're going to see good chance that this winner tonight is someone we haven't seen all night. We saw this a lot in the amateur races earlier, where you can just kind of stay quiet on this course, let the other teams, let the other riders fight it out at the front, and then you really only need to get to the front in those closing few laps. Once again, got a nice gap here. Will it be enough to get away with anyone or hold it for another 7 laps?
We'll see as they come around with 7 to go.
Pretty impressive sticking together so far tonight, especially with that crash. A lot of hot and cold, a lot of on and off out there. That's kind of the nature of criterium racing. Boy, they are flying through the line here. Massive speeds being set by these guys out here. And looks like Project Echelon is once again at the helm behind this. They're going to have one last big dig at it here to try to open this up.
Yeah, we see the green jersey, Sean Hollenbach sitting there, I believe on third wheel, if I'm looking at it correctly. But yeah, I mean, Mike Spikes on the front still with Project Echelon fighting over the control of the front, although they're Project Echelon trying to keep him contained in these final laps of racing.
This is what I was talking about earlier. This is where we would normally see a full train start to come forward, right? This is where Project Echelon goes all hands on deck and is typically able to control this race. That's just not the scenario out there right now. They're really having trouble getting back into this. Matthew Wilson not giving up his space easily, although I am starting to see more and more of them amassing at the front. But between Mike's Bikes up there and the POA Racing Squad, they're going to have a run for their money trying to control these last 5 laps.
Yeah, as I see 5 to go. So it's interesting because, yes, like you said, by this time we would see a lot more organization at the front of the field, and it's just not the case with as much shuffling has been happening tonight. The crash that kind of split up the field and kind of messed with the rhythm a little bit there. It's going to be a very interesting finish to see who's going to be able to get to the line without with as much kind of a bit of chaos that we see without the organization that we are used to.
Well, and here we go. Project Echelon train is right on time at the station as they start to move up towards the front here. I think I counted 5 guys up there this time.
We saw Stephen Bassett sitting third wheel. So since we are 4 to go, Brad, I'm going to say adieu. I'm going to head to the finish so I can get those finishing interviews, and I will be there to bring the immediate reactions after the finish, so I'll leave it to you.
All right, here we go. Down to closing laps in Wenatchee. Final race of the day. The elite men on the way in. Project Echelon lining it up, but boy, that green jersey looking good on the back of Matthew Wilson. Perfect position, surfing the back of that group. I'm going to be closely monitoring him for this finale sprint coming up here. Doesn't look like many teams want to try and come over the top of Project Echelon right now, nor would I. I think I'm happy just letting these guys control and then trying to jump them, maybe a Leah Shafi style. They're going to see 3 to go on the counter. Big lap this time through. They're also ringing the bell for a $1,000 cash preem on the line. So in addition to having to try to get through this Project Echelon train, there's also money available. This looks like Mike's Bikes. They're going to go for it here. I see that dark Mike's Bikes jersey starting to move up. I see some ice speed maybe in the mix as well. There's going to be a flurry of attacks here for $1,000. Not a lot of guys that think that they can challenge Project Echelon for the last 3 laps here in terms of control on the front, but it looks like there's plenty of customers lining up for their chance to try to jump these guys for $1,000. I'll confirm that will be Boardman picking up that preem for Project Echelon. More importantly, though, still protecting the front. That's his ultimate goal here for that squad. Green jersey, little caught out in this scenario. See if Wilson can get back up to the front at 2 laps to go. And this will take us down to the last one. Looks like the train has been infiltrated. I see some Mike Spikes jerseys up near the front. I think they have worked their way into this Project Echelon train. Ooh, green jersey in there as well. Here comes Wilson. He's going to make himself known. It's going to be a great finish. Echelon still in charge. Wilson tucked in about third wheel, right where he wants to be. And this one turning into chaos here. It looks like Project Echelon has lost control of the train. They still got control at the front of the field. But once he pulls off, it's going to be the Wild West out there on the front of this group. They're going to drop one off into the final turn. Project Echelon will lead it 1 and 2 out of the last corner as they open up the sprint. That'll go to the line together. Project Echelon posts up. Did he get beat on the right side? Well, I'll trust the rider with hands in the air in this scenario. Looks like Project Echelon got it. We're going to wait for confirmation here. But another great sprint to the line as Project Echelon tries to control late. And looks like they are going to confirm Cade Bickmore takes the win for Project Echelon. So hands in the air for the win. They drop Bickmore off out of the last corner, and Cade Bickmore wins the Criterium in downtown Wenatchee. Bickmore went to the line with one other rider. They are going to check the photo finish on this one. I got a couple sources saying Cade Bickmore here. Let's listen into this.
Line. And it was on that other side towards the beer garden. The guy in the red kit. I'm not sure. We haven't called him all night.
We shall see. I know our timing crew and our officiating team is all over it. We can expect them to produce results pretty soon, let's hope. Although whatever it takes is what it takes, because we want to get this right for the racers and our spectators and their support people.
Let's see if Rebecca can grab a word with anyone out there.
We're here with Cade Bickmore. We are live. We're waiting on results. I don't know, preliminary. They say he might have it. We'll get confirmation here in a minute, but tell me about that finish.
I don't know. I posted up early and I might have got pipped. I might have got myself with my own move.
Tell me about that. I mean, that race was just insane. It just nobody could control it. Nobody could escape. Your team did so much work.
Yeah, I mean, it was so fast the whole time. Obviously, that crash in the middle threw a big wrench into things, but it was already a short race, and it was just full gas the whole time. Everybody was on it. Really fun racing out there, but yeah, that was quick.
You talked about coming back from Europe. This is the first stage race here in the United States, the first race of the season. Are you feeling good so far?
Yeah, feeling good so far. I mean, coming off of Europe is obviously a big boost. And I don't know, I didn't have the best travel home and everything, got a little sick, but we're back now, and I think all that early season racing is paying off now.
Well, hopefully we'll find out here shortly. They're still calculating. It's a photo finish. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
All right, well, good luck, Cade. We'll go and see. You're welcome. What a great finish, photo finish. We're still waiting. It's between Project Echelon and Red Truck. We're trying to confirm the rider that we think either won or got second place, so we'll see. We're going to try to talk to Stephen Bassett, let's get over here to try to talk to our national champion. We saw him doing a lot of work today. We were hoping that he would go, but not surprised about Cade Bickmore. He's gotten several green jerseys before at the Tour of the Gila, for example. Can I chat with you?
Yeah.
We're live.
Oh, hey.
All right, we're here with Stephen Bassett. He's trying to put the jacket on since it is pretty chilly out here. Stephen, we're waiting on results to see if Cade got it, but the team did so much work. We saw you out on front a lot going for those points and the time bonuses.
Yeah, I mean, we may have been going more for cash than time bonuses, but yeah, it was a good race. There's a lot of waiting today to get to the big show.
It was hard for the team to control it. I mean, you guys did a lot of work. It just seemed like nobody could get control of the race, and then that crash kind of split things up.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, we lost Cole Davis in the crash, and he's on the way to the hospital, so that's a big loss for us, but I think everybody else was all right and able to get back to it.
What was it like wearing your Stars and Stripes finally right before Nationals, but at least you got an opportunity?
Yeah, you know, it's really special. I've really enjoyed having this jersey. It was my first race with the team to get it, so I've really enjoyed every day wearing it, and it's been really fun for me. You know, it was 15 years of Nationals before I got one, so it really means a lot to me, and it's fun to get to show it off today.
Well, you've been following your career here at home. It's great to see you get that opportunity to enjoy those Stars and Stripes a few weeks before you have to defend it.
Yeah, so it'll be nice. This is a perfect race for us to sharpen the shape, work together, and go home and have a couple weeks to kind of fine-tune the form before the Nationals.
Well, go warm up and great race today. Hopefully we'll see if you guys got the win tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so.
All right, thank you. All right, so that's Stephen Bassett there. We've seen him throughout the years here racing domestically. It's great to have an opportunity for him. He's leading the KOM, so normally the KOM will trump a national jersey, but the race organizers here noticing this opportunity right before Nationals for him to be able to wear it gave him the go-ahead, so it was really nice to see the national jersey one last time before he needs to defend it a few weeks here coming up in the USA Nationals. So we're still waiting on confirmation. Let me see if we've got it. Okay, guys, I've got word you won.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
You got it. Cade Bickmore taking the win here. We just got confirmation from the officials. Yeah. Well, that's from
okay,
Dot.
it's not the.
No, we don't have the finish, but
We're gonna go back to the car.
Yeah, sounds good.
But a confirmation finally. Tell me, what does that mean after we were just talking about it?
Oh, I mean, I've won races. I won Sunny King in 2023, nipping Alfredo at the line, and I made it my thing. All right, I'm never doing that. I'm never posting up early. Do it here tonight. I guess I was just excited to get my first one of the season, and I'm glad it actually happened, and I didn't mess it up for the team after they rode so great tonight.
A great start for the season. I mean, you had a good start in Europe, and now winning at home in your first race. I mean, you're winning the stage for the team, especially after a night where we saw Cole Davis unfortunately get injured in that crash.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough racing out there, and obviously with Cole going down, it's a big bummer for us. But it feels really good to bring it home.
A great win tonight. Congratulations and good luck to these final three stages. Looks like some tough ones.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, Cade Bickmore, our Stage 3 winner, just confirmed by our officials, and we'll see. We'll get confirmation for our second and third, so that we can get some more interviews here. Let's see. All right, so let's go talk to Colby McMullen for Red Truck Racing, the Canadian team that got second in that photo finish. As soon as we get that photo, we'll post it on Instagram so you guys can see. In third, let me see here, Alexander Morrison from Alto Velo Racing. So we'll get those at the first. Was here with Sebas Menes. Being interviewed by cyclocross pro Felix, also from Costa Rica.
Ayer gané por dicha y me sentí bastante bien. Mañana tenemos oportunidades, creo, también, y vamos a tratar de ganar la etapa. Gracias.
Estamos aquí con Sebas Brenes, el líder de la general. Sebas, una carrera muy difícil, muy activo. ¿Cómo le fue para ustedes? Nos vimos Cormac haciendo tanto trabajo para ti.
Sí, la verdad tuve una carrera súper dura, muy bonita, de noche, mi primer criterium de noche. Okay. Es una experiencia muy diferente, bastantes caídas desgraciadamente, pero pudimos ganar una meta intermedia y terminar en la cuarta posición.
¿Y qué es? Porque no corren muchos criteriums en Latinoamérica, ¿o sí?
No, la verdad no es una modalidad que se practique mucho, la verdad me encanta. Quiero mejorar, sé que todavía puedo mejorar mucho y quiero seguir viniendo acá a hacerlo.
Pues es un orgulloso para tenerte aquí con nosotros, pero qué bueno que gustó porque es algo que siempre corremos aquí en los estados.
Sí, es una modalidad súper cool, la verdad me gusta mucho y como te dije, quiero mejorar mucho para poder ganar un día.
In English now for our English followers, Sebas, it was a very hard race, but we saw Cormac McGo on the front. I mean, it's just the two of you, but him doing so much work for you today.
Yeah, it's so much work for Cormac. He always keep me in good position in the peloton all the race. We win like a sprint, like 10 laps to go, I think so. And then I finished fourth at the end, and I feel pretty good. And I want to be tomorrow race because I think it's a good course for me.
Your mom is watching. We need to say a little message for your mom so that she knows.
Say, Mom, how are you?
Pero en español, por favor.
Hola, Ma, pura vida.
Pura vida, all right. Gracias, buena suerte para mañana.
Gracias, pura vida. Hasta luego.
All right, Sebas Brenes, extending his lead just by a little. Of course, we'll get confirmation exactly how much he did gain tonight with a few bonus seconds, but let's see. We're waiting on the podium here. Let's see if we can see Ryan McMullen from Red Truck and get his take on the finish there. We're seeing a lot of riders with torn up jerseys, a little bit of road rash from those crashes. There are a couple of them, but luckily nobody other than Cole Davis. Hopefully it's not a collarbone, but he was up and walking with medical, so hopefully he's okay. We send him our well wishes here. Teams Mike Spikes over here that they did a lot of work today in the race. Very active on the front, especially Tim McBurney. Okay, so we're waiting for our podium here. We'll see if we can grab somebody else to talk to. Let's go down to talk to Red Truck and get their take from what happened today on that photo finish. It's about, let me see what time it is right now, because we are pushing about 12, just a few minutes before 11 p.m., which we've got an early morning tomorrow for our pro women, starting at 9 a.m. with an hour.
this field of Pro 1-2 ladies. This is the biggest and the best 1-2-3 field we've ever had. Thank you for traveling from all over to this race.
We have racers in this field from as far away as Sacramento, San Francisco. We have them from Montana. They are coming from all over the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest to race here.